Alright, so let's just first see how this monstrum works. Everything gets pushed forward one. These two gets returned. And we eventually get to here. Stops here. This returner gets returned. Push down one. Get returner also return. And get pushed down one. Now this top part is returned along with the part underneath. They also return. This gets pushed down one. Stops here. This also gets pushed down. It's ready again. This goes up. And after a while, the cycle continues. Alright. So what is the point of this? Having a pickaxe, and you get yourself down here, and then you stand just barely 1 pixel inside of the honey block. Then when you can aim just slightly over the edge, you can mine 4 blocks down as you reach. It's very lucky that this works, that you can stand right here, stick completely to the block, and then you can mine down here just by holding down. Then the autominer automatically makes you mine. The thing is, you will also need a shovel and also a hoe. Maybe 3, you can have 3 people here. The thing is though, there is something with the hitboxes which acts a bit weird, and that's also the big limitation of this. Is much of this is client side, so you can't really depend on this 100%. Yeah, it's, as you can see, they kind of glide back and forth, and if there's a kind of misalignment with the clients, they're going to push each other, but otherwise it is reliable. It looks like they're gliding, but they are just ending up. If you are on the thing yourself, okay, what's going on? Well, this is just a lot of simple stuff that looks pretty complicated, but man, I spent, I don't know, 2-3 weeks or something on this. My spouse can confirm. Getting everything to fit just right. So we have about 50 minecarts here. You can pick up all the items of about 1 layer of a whole beacon range. And you can see that we have another version down there. So this is a mini version, just for demonstration purposes. So they would be in here. And this was the only configuration I could find where it's 12 blocks total, so it would be easy to manage, and also having the minecarts be able to pick up stuff. And it's mostly just in these 2 directions that they have to pick up items, so they will unfortunately get pushed by the observer as it's a full block, but it can pick up most items on the other side, except the trapdoor here is going to push a few items. And that's why we have this follower gathering system here to get most blocks. So of course this system is flawed. It would give about 0.4, I guess, 40% of the blocks you mine, but it's the best solution I could find, as another one would require that every line of blocks would need their own minecart to kind of sweep over. 2 times 25 minecarts here, and I use a little trick that I discovered. I could only get minecarts to pick up 14 items at a time, so that would take a long time, and I don't think it would be able to empty all the minecarts in the 29 minutes that it takes to do a whole layer. So here comes a minecart. and I use a little trick that I discovered is that you can kind of, if you have the configuration like this, a minecart, you put a minecart or it ends up here, it's gonna coast very slowly and then get off, and it can pick up. You can pick up almost a full inventory in that time. That's great. This has to be done specifically like this, otherwise the coasting doesn't work. And everything had to be under this layer here, because otherwise the autominer would get over and the player would destroy the machine. So yeah, it had to be done like this. And then they just fall down and go through some water, so they slow down for this detector rail, and then they get unloaded here, and then these droppers with this timer get to unload it all up into a collecting system up here. And then on the other side of this portal we have just a simple XP farm with it's one of the only ways that you can get XP without having to hit mobs. And you can use a dog also, but the mobs would have to attack you. And then we simply just rain it down on the player, and so the tools they repair. The conveyor belt sort of. This is not needed at all. You could just use 2 slime blocks and then bounce them over here. So the thing is that unfortunately you need to use several players for this, most likely. And I thought about a system where maybe you could have chickens. A lot of chickens lay eggs, and then you automatically throw those eggs on the ground and you make a batch that grows up while the autominer is doing a layer, and then they fall down slowly in front of the player, and when the player has strength 1 on, it will kill the chicken in 1 hit with a netherite pickaxe. Unfortunately, if you hold down the button, you will only hit something once and then never again. And I also thought about making a mob farm where it would only sort out skeletons, and then because a dog automatically only attacks skeletons on their own, and if you own the dog you get XP drops from it. But the thing is though, a dog, for it to attack, it has to not sit down, and if it doesn't sit down it's gonna follow the player, it's gonna teleport to the player. And also if you have mob spawning enabled, not having a mob switch, they're going to spawn on your mining field, and if you get hit by an arrow, whatever, your character is going to, the player is going to move, and that's eventually going to lead to it all breaking. So I can understand why no one else has probably built this, but it was a good learning project.